as I was saying, so tonight's message is about a mother's love. Let me go ahead and find myself. So, yes, as I was saying, I literally was trying to Google something that is consistent with the message, and then I ended up opening the Bible to the exact verse that I'm gonna read right now. So, let us begin this beautiful message that I came into tonight. And I hate to say I don't have as many beautiful messages like this, so I like when I get these messages. So it is, or the Bible verse I'm reading from is Proverbs 31. The words of King Lemuel, the prophecy that his mother taught him. What, my son, and what, the son of my womb, and what, the son of my vows? Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. It is not for kings, O Lemuel, it is not for kings to drink wine, nor for princes strong drink, lest they drink and forget the law and pervert the judgment of any of the afflicted. Give strong drink unto him that is ready to perish, and wine unto those that be of heavy hearts. Let him drink and forget his poverty, and remember his misery no more. Open thy mouth for the dumb in the cause of all such as are appointed to destruction. Open thy mouth for the dumb in the cause of all such as are appointed to destruction. Open thy mouth, judge righteously, and plead the cause of the poor and needy. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeketh wool and flax, and worketh willingly with her hands. She is like the merchant's ships, she bringeth her food from afar. She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens. She considereth a field, and buyeth it. With the fruit of her hands she planteth a vineyard. She girdeth her loins with strength, and strengtheneth her arms. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. She stretcheth out her hand to the poor, yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of the snow of her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple. Purple is the color of royalty, by the way. Her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land. She maketh fine linen and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. Her children arise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praiseth her. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain. But a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. I didn't read this thing before I chose it. This is so beautiful, honestly. Um, I think I'm gonna have to come back to this, but there were a few things here. Actually, no, I'm not gonna come back to it. I'm gonna stay on it. So there are a few things here. First of all, these are my sentiments. I agree with everything in here wholeheartedly. Only because I'm, like I was talking about yesterday, I'm a person, I really believe in principle above all. I just think that your heart and your honor above everything else. Um, I just think that's very, I know it's irreplaceable. It's not something that you can purchase from people. It's not something that people can get just anywhere. So it's really important to me also to be around people like that. I don't like personally, just for myself, I don't like to engage in, you know, certain things, I'll say. Um, this is basically a mother telling her son what kind of wife she wants him to have. Every mother, almost like any good mother, is gonna have this kind of sentiment. I think that, like, I'm a very strong woman myself. So sometimes I think there is this idea, and no idea is right or wrong. Like, people are allowed to have freedom of thought. However, there is this idea sometimes that to be feminine means to just lay back and just let everything come to you and happen for you and not have your own mind or your own ambitions or things that you're passionate about, not be strong. And I just think that is not true. I think that the women that I look up to work very hard. They have things going on of their own. They have their own mind, their own pursuits, their own passions. And I think anybody who loves their son is not going to want him to be in a situation where, it's just like a take situation. Um, when I woke up spiritually, I found that all the attributes that I had were in line with, what God has, how she is, because she is a female king. I have to repeat that because it's true. She is a female king, and it's so crazy because from a young age, I've talked about this concept of a female king long before like anybody ever said it. I don't know where it came from, why I said it, but that's how I saw myself, because I see myself as very independent in my pursuits. Like, even from a very young age, I was never one who was like, well, when I get married, I'm going to buy a house, or when I get married, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. I am a person who's like, why can't I do it? Let me like figure out how to do it. I think women are just as capable. I think that's not really what makes you a woman. I think it's very important to have strong women, not because they have to be strong, but because it is a very healthy way for a woman to live. Um, there are periods of time where, so I can speak for myself, where I have been out of work. I know that I can't go too long like that, like 6 weeks max, or I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna get depressed literally, because you have no purpose, you have nothing to do, like you have nothing to occupy your mind, no challenges. And I feel like every human being, regardless of gender, you need something to work on. Like, you're not a house cat, you're not a pet. You need something to work on. You need something that makes you feel whole, that makes you feel full. Because I'm a spiritual person, I also agree with this chapter as well, where it says, where is it? There's one verse here that says, it just says something about her candles don't go out. So I'll take it line by line instead of talking about myself. But I very much I agree with this. And it's funny to wake up spiritually and find that like God is also the same. It's not how it's been kind of put out there, like women as, I don't want to use the word useless, but like non-contributing, sit in a house, accept money coming in. I think it creates a power imbalance that puts you at a disadvantage. And I feel like month after month, year after year, your value diminishes in these situations. And then you become at the mercy of other people. And before you know it, you're suffering indignities that you probably don't want to, that are not worth being taken care of. I'll put it that way. So it basically starts out talking about don't give your strength to women, nor your ways to that which destroyeth kings. It's basically saying don't drink. Don't drink strong drinks. It's saying something like, hold on one second. I have kids and they just do any kind of thing during the live. I swear to God. The kids, the cats, everybody, it's ridiculous. Anyway, um, where am I? Give strong drink unto him that is ready to perish, and wine unto those that be of heavy hearts. It's basically saying, like, drinking heavily is for depressed people. Let him drink and forget his poverty and remember his misery no more. So it's like it's just dulling your senses. Open thy mouth, judge righteously, and plead the cause of the poor and needy. What can a virtuous who can find a virtuous woman, for her price is far above rubies. Just basically saying virtuous women are rare. And to be honest with you, it's like I don't want to believe that, but I have, like, from where I come in life, I have no choice but to agree with it. It is very, very, very rare. That's what I think. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so he shall have no need of spoil. Again, very rare. And I feel like when you're that kind of person, people definitely they try to change it. Like they have a problem with it. They try to say like, why do you think you should be like that? Anytime you want to be anything good and have high standards for yourself, people are going to be offended who leave their standards low because perhaps it's too challenging to raise their standards. But I find that women being virtuous, other women are going to race in and have like a huge problem with it, even though they do whatever they want with themselves. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeketh wool and flax and worketh willingly with her hands. Going through what I have gone through, I found that there were a lot of indignities. A lot of women were suffering that were a part of these organizations because they were being taken care of financially. And these were not necessarily rich people. These were people who were like doing okay. They weren't poor people either. But it doesn't even matter how much, but almost like you'd maybe understand a little bit more if it's like you had like an unlimited income to like live life. It was just, to me, I felt like it wasn't worth it because it was to the point that these men would behave that way in front of them. they wouldn't feel the need to hide it. And I mean a number of times. So from the very beginning that I started getting acquainted with these situations, it was just like men who just didn't care. They would pursue other women in front of these women, and then obviously if you feel ignored and dejected, you're gonna do whatever you want as well, you know, hopefully hoping for some attention or whatever. It was just very uncomfortable every time I would see something like that. But I think that being willing to work is not a bad thing. It doesn't mean that you don't have someone who loves you or that you're not taken care of. I think it's just something that you want to do. Like, life has other circumstances. If money cannot be made, if somebody becomes injured or incapacitated, your husband, what are you going to do? So like, there's this thing that I always say, like, what if somebody breaks their leg or has like an injury, something that causes them to not work? You're pretty much stuck. And that's a horrible place to be, is to have children, have responsibilities, have bills, and then the main provider is incapacitated for whatever reason. I just think, and there are people with traditional values. I tend to have a lot of traditional values as well, but I also see being a strong, hardworking woman, a diligent woman, as still a traditional value. She is like the merchant ships, she bringeth her food from afar. She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens. She considereth a field, and buyeth it. With the fruit of her hands she planteth a vineyard. I think that's strength. That is something I'm proud of. Like, for myself personally, if like just the fact that it says she considereth a field and buyeth it, it's very important for me to be able to purchase whatever I want, whenever I want. If I want a home, like big purchases, if I want a home, if I want to have a business, if I want to, like, that I can make those decisions without asking questions. Now, to put a pin in that, men don't, normal men, a lot of men don't like that because it takes control away from them. I remember my dad always telling me that it was going to be hard to get married because I'm too intimidating. He was saying things like, he was making a joke one time and he was saying, I'm a scary person. I'm going to summarize. So it was like this joke about somebody would come home and I would already be on the phone with a travel agent and I haven't had a discussion and I'm just booking tickets and I'm going to tell them after it's all booked that I'm leaving, and they don't have a say because they don't have to pay for it and I don't need anything, and that I'm too strong and I need to, you know, he's always had these examples of all these educated, well-to-do women that are always single. I think that's nonsense. I know that there are educated women that are single, but I don't think all men are like that. I definitely know in the case of my parents that they are not like that. I think sometimes I know that the concept of a female king would be intimidating when there is God the Father, but he is very content to take that role because he's not taking that role because he is not powerful. I think when a man is secure in his power, it doesn't matter. I think when anybody is secure in their power, it doesn't matter. So if you are secure in where you stand as a person, like if you are a man and you know you are a good provider, you're very loving, people, you know, your family needs you, etc., I don't think you're going to have a big issue with it. Hold on. I don't think you're going to have a big issue with it. I think that it just is what it is. I think it is easy to support the dreams and aspirations of someone that you love and it doesn't matter if you're threatened by it. I just don't think that gender should be threatened by what each other can accomplish or what people can bring to the table for each other. In fact, spiritually, women are considered very powerful. So, bring it. So spiritually, I feel like there are a lot of rules that have to do with protection that are female roles. A lot of roles that have to do with fighting that are female roles. So spiritually, it's like women are the fighters. There are so many female fighters spiritually, not to say there are no male characters, but a lot of them are female, and strategically so. So I just think, I don't know, it's a big deal for me. These are things that I've always just like not said throughout my life, because I just know so many people are going to have some kind of issue with it. There are deeper things that we need to have issues with than whether or not women have can take care of themselves. And the fact that women were considered property, needed a husband's position, permission to purchase a home or have a bank account or anything like that. Like, we've come a long way. We are on the cusp of having the United States, like the president of the United States, be a woman. That these kind of things are a big deal. Like, we're half the population. Like, we need representation, and we bring a lot to the table. And I think that when you look at it from the perspective of like, what can I gain from being in alliance with someone who's strong, rather than looking at what you will lose, I think it should be looked at from a perspective where you do not want to be with a robot. You want to be with a partner. You want to be with someone who's an asset. You want to be with around people that you can trust. It's very comforting for a woman to be with a man who's a provider. And I think it could be equally comforting for a man to be with a woman who is independent to a degree where it takes a lot of pressure off. I've always said it's really hard to be a man. I've always thought in today's society, or the idea of society that people have, being the one who has that burden to feed and provide for so many people without help, without assistance, and not just that, but without wise counsel, without someone who has the capability of giving a balanced opinion because they truly understand. I think sometimes people might not want the opinion of someone who doesn't know what they're talking about. And what I mean by that is, how can you truly give advice when you don't, like, in as far as like maybe business or fiscal things, where it's like you don't know, you don't truly know. You can give advice based on what you think it's like, but you want advice from people who understand what they're talking about, who know, who suffer, who have felt it. So for me, I just feel like I love being around strong women. Now there's a difference, and I'm going to go into that. I love being around strong women. I look up to strong women. I admire strong women. I am not talking about women who talk down to people. I'm not talking about women who are very abrasive for no reason. I know so many of those women who are know-it-alls, or like just very like aggressive for no reason. Like, there's so many women that I meet, and I mean, I think despite the fact that you can provide for yourself, there still is a humility that you should have in your relationship, or in your partnership, I guess I should say. And being equally aligned is a good thing. Like, not necessarily dating someone that you don't have too much in common with. I think that too creates a power struggle. I think it's uncomfortable for anybody to be in a situation, even women who are dating men who have more. Doesn't matter what society makes it feel like. I cannot imagine it's comfortable to know that everything you have comes from someone. There must be some imbalance that makes you feel subservient in some way, or that you have to keep this person happy in order for you to be happy. And I don't think like that's the way that things should be. But I mean, again, I'm glad it came from the Bible and not me, because if it just came from me, there are going to be verses and little mini rants all over my social media that are strategically placed there to like strategically disagree, and it's like, I don't care. So I'm glad it came from the Bible. I think it's a blessing to be with someone who's strong. I think it's a blessing not just in hard times, but it is a comfort and a reassurance even in good times. That not that things are not going to go south in life sometimes, because they do, but I think a spouse is a helper. A spouse is someone who is going to be your help in hard times, not just everybody gives to everybody, everybody chips in, but like not just necessarily taking, because I feel like too much of anything creates an imbalance. um Definitely being strong is important. It's very, you can't really call it a partnership if there's one person who constantly melts down, and then in the middle of trying to take care of a situation you also have to deal with another person's, like male or female, another person's meltdown in a difficult situation. She perceiveth her merchandise is good, and her candle goeth not out by night. A praying woman, a strong spiritual woman, I think that is important. She girdeth her loins with strength and strengtheneth her arms, meaning she gets to work. She's not scared of work. She stretcheth out her hand to the poor. She reacheth forth her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of the snow of her household, and for all her household are clothed with scarlet. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple, which in these times, silk is expensive, because if you've ever seen how silk is made, it is a process. Like genuine silk is a process. You need a lot of worms for that. And purple is considered a very royal color. It still is, even with spirituality. Her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth amongst the elders of the land. She maketh fine linen and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. Like, this is a very full like, I want to say full body, but like well-rounded. Sorry, this is a well-rounded person. She looketh well to the ways of her household, meaning she takes care of her house, and eateth not the bread of idleness, not lazy and laying around. Thank you to the Bible for saying these things. I have always been beat up for these kind of opinions. Her children arise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praiseth her. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. One of the things that I've always said, and I know I've been bashed for, look, so I used to sell in my store very sexy clothes because that is what I felt like the environment pushed for. I didn't feel like it. It strategically pushed for it, and I found out later why. And I used to meet a lot of working girls, if you will, because the clothes just needed to be sexier and sexier all the time. Like, to the point it was damn near naked at one point. And one of the things that they would always say to me is, you know, you never judge me. Like, you never make me feel bad, because it's very obvious I'm not like them. I don't live this lifestyle. Like, they would say little things, like they would come and they'd be like, you own this place, like you own this store, because I never took pictures of myself. I was never in front of the camera. And they're like, I was not expecting this, because they're expecting someone that looks like them, because I was the most popular boutique. And I remember just always thinking, like, listen, if you let me talk to you long enough, I'm going to try to talk you out of what you're doing. But I don't judge it to say like they're any less of a human being. I don't think about it too much, but I don't agree with it. I wouldn't do it myself, and I wouldn't allow my children to do it. But at the same time, it's not like I think they're any less of a human being. I want to put that out there. I understand that circumstances arise that lead people to things like that, to that kind of lifestyle. And now I understand that people are trafficked into that lifestyle. And I understand what trafficking looks like. I understand that trafficking looks like being gang stalked. And when you add the spiritual aspect to it, it's almost impossible to do anything about it. So I understand that. I understand that there's fear. I understand that there's all kinds of things that are happening and women are vulnerable. But I definitely feel like things like that, that kind of lifestyle depletes you emotionally and as a woman, and it strips you of your softness and your kindness and everything else. Even what I'm going through, it hasn't depleted me of kindness, but having to be strong and having to be on your own all the time, it definitely forces you to be in more masculine energy. And there can be a balance between the two. You can be very masculine and very feminine. You can be both. But I just think that situations that compromise your dignity, like having to sell your body and having people use you and literally buy and sell you like a commodity, I feel like those kind of things quickly, I feel like those women are have no choice but to be emotionally broken. And for those that are not being trafficked, that voluntarily sleep around, I feel like they are broken. They're already broken. There's something in you that is broken, that needs love, that needs compassion, that needs kindness. It could be anything. It could be lack of a mother's love, lack of a father's love, lack of protection, lack of good advice, lack of a good example, whatever it is. But there's something that is missing. And I feel like once you find it, you're going to not feel the need to seek validation by running around and constantly masking it and covering up and calling it something else. When you're loved correctly, you don't have need for these kind of behaviors. You're more confident in yourself and you're secure in yourself. You don't have to fight to be the most anything, the prettiest, or the one who does this, or the one who, you don't have to be the best at anything. You, when you're well loved, you can be like the most horrible actually, and you still feel loved because you are. You can be not the brightest, not the prettiest, not the anythingest, and know that you're loved. God loves you. You know, maybe you have family that loves you, friends, whatever. It doesn't matter, because it's the security that comes from knowing that regardless of what's going on, you're still loved. So tonight's live is about a mother's love. And so before I start, I wanted to talk first about, like, I wanted to kind of give a disclaimer, because I am talking about Santa Muerte, and she is known as the Saint of Death. I feel like the way I know her is very different, and so I come from a very different perspective, and that's what I want to talk about. So, first disclaimer, no one can force anyone into a spiritual awakening. It's something you have to be ready for, because you have to embrace esoteric truths. You have to embrace truths that are like occult truths, spiritual truths. This is not religious. This is not about any denomination. This is about the truth of the reality, or sorry, the truth of the spiritual world, what is actually going on. This can be a very slow process. It's not something that you need to rush, and it requires a lot of trust on your behalf. You need to be able to trust your spiritual journey. You need to be able to trust the things that you're seeing around you are real. You need to be able to trust that when a spirit is speaking to you, that it's actually a spirit and it's not your mind making it up. So the most important part is your acceptance, meaning embracing the journey. What that means is this is not necessarily for everyone, and that is okay. So you have to take what you feel resonates for you, what you take it as needed, and ignore the rest of it. I am not here to debate people about what is good, what is right, what is satanic, what is great, what is not. If you feel that way, don't tell me about it, because I am very convicted and I am not going to change my opinion. I am also not going to debate it, because for me, it is my truth. It is the truth, not my truth, the truth. we are all on individual journeys in our spirituality, but I feel like, and I know that the reason God wants this to happen and these messages to go out is that there are not a lot of honest sources, a lot of sources that lead people to the light and to the truth, sources that respect a person's individual right to make a decision on how they take their journey, if they're going to take their journey, when they take their journey. Everything in this that I have encountered spiritually wants to force people down a particular path. That is not the way that a spiritual journey doesn't work that way. Everybody's on different timelines and doing something different. People, if you think the church is dictatorial, the spiritual realm, people will bind you, they will fight you, they will try to break you down in order to change your belief system, in order to do all kinds of very heinous, crazy things to a human being. So for myself, I have to say, these messages are for those who are thirsty. And if you are thirsty, drink. If you are not thirsty, please don't upset for everybody else. You are working against people's delicate spiritual journeys, their delicate processes, by adding a very unnecessary opinion. It is more beneficial or even effective to you to talk about your own beliefs. Talk about on your channels, in your own spaces, talk about your own things that you believe in instead of trying to cut down other things that other people believe. Because I am not going to go to other spaces and tell them Islam is not real and Christianity is, even though I don't believe everything. I listen to gospel sometimes and the pastors always say, no white magic, no black magic, no this, no that. I don't agree with them, but it doesn't change how I feel about them and their message and the fact that I'm going to continue listening to them, because I take what resonates with me, and the parts that I don't agree with, I feel confident enough in what I believe in to not try to change them or convert them either, but to just accept their message as it is and to just be grateful that they're sharing. I think that what I'm doing is very important, and what people like me is doing is very important, because as I had my spiritual awakening, as people came out with the truth, good spiritual knowledge, people you could trust, they would be taken down one at a time, multiple at a time sometimes, and before you know it, they would be back on here with false messages and false doctrines. And it was like, where can I get good information that I can trust? And the reality is in God, in my heart. So I no longer am extremely dependent. In the beginning I was on, well, not really, but I no longer am dependent on messages from other people. I trust myself and my gut to guide me. And I invite everybody to do that, because again, it is an individual journey. Not everything I say is for everyone at the same time. Simply because, like, I might give advice to do this or do that, but your gut strongly opposes it, you gotta go with that. I have said all the time, in this world, the spiritual world, do not depend too strongly on anyone, because we go through so many spiritual attacks in order to give these messages. You don't know the half. So this is not like, even pastors get attacked. So you can only imagine for spiritual people who are giving the kind of advice that I give. God, I go through so much for this. I'm telling you, just even giving people cleanses, giving people means to protect themselves. That means a lot to someone who's putting in a lot of work and whose work is now blocked, who you have now have a veil over you spiritually. They can't access your energy. It's a huge deal when people are coming after you because they want to drain you, and someone like myself is giving help. So it's a dangerous thing that I'm doing as well. So it's not necessarily for everyone, but the spiritual journey can be beautiful. And I think with each one of us helping each other purely, that God really appreciates all of the hard work it takes to do this. I do this for my mother specifically. This is a big deal for me because this is my way of giving back to her for everything that she's ever given me. So this is important. Like, I will put up with anything to get this done. And the second part of it is that I know how badly I needed it. Just a source of honest, trustworthy advice. Nobody was paying them, nobody was bribing them, there was no agenda. They weren't looking for anything in return. They were just doing a spiritual job or just giving back. It was so extremely important. The people who did that for me saved me in every way and made it possible for me to get here. Just to get to this chair, to get to this seat, I had to fight for 2 years. Still fighting, though fighting back now. It's not the same, but I had to fight to sit here, and I had to go over so many obstacles to get here. And I felt like sometimes people sacrifice themselves, maybe not knowing that people were there, and it was like inevitable that they would eventually be taken down just so that I could get here. And I know it's like that for other people, where you're gonna see people go through hell to get you to where you have to go. And I think with on our side, it puts so much gratitude in your heart to know that spirits care about you so much, your spirit team cares about you so much, that they bring people here to sacrifice, to walk a Christ walk for you. That's why one of the quotes that I had on all my channels, on all my videos before, and I'm going to start back with it, is that for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, or she gave her only begotten daughter, that whosoever shall believe in him or her shall not perish but have everlasting life. I feel like that's what we are. We are sacrificial lambs who come here to suffer endlessly, to grow spiritually, to come back and be strong enough to face any challenge in order to give the messages, because hatching people spiritually is not an easy thing, even when there's no threats. But to protect people when there are so many threats around them is a critical thing. It is a huge deal. So those of us that take on this role, we are taking on the role of a mother or a father on behalf of our spiritual parents, to love other people, to take care of them, to cover them, to protect them. And that's what it really takes to do this. So this is a labor of love, because it is a labor. It's a labor of love. It's something that you have to be happy to do, and it's something that you do selflessly. But trust me, this is for people who are going through something. And I know that when I was going through something, I could care less. I don't care about your race. I don't care about your sexual orientation. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care. I'm going through spiritual difficulties. I need help. It's a spiritual ambulance. I don't care about anything. Are you honest? Are you true? Do you believe in the same things I believe in? That's all I care about. And that's all it boils down to. And because she's waking people up, she is known as a Mexican deity, but she is for everyone, all races. It's not about your color. I mean, I know earth angels come in every race, every denomination, whatever you can think of. But they go out of their way to keep us strong, to keep us committed, to prepare us for what we're getting into, for what we're walking into. They take amazing care of us so that we can do this. So this is for people who need it. I'm not here to force anyone down any particular path. That is not what I'm here for. I want to talk to people who need rescue more than anything. And your situation is probably something that you would describe as insurmountable, something that you know for a fact you cannot get through this alone. You feel outnumbered, outmaneuvered. You feel innocent and desperate for a change. Your only faith is in a higher power, because there is no human being that you can trust right now. These are the people that I am here for. People in unbearable situations who are vulnerable. I come with solid hope. I come to say Spirit knows. They hear you. This is an emergency. Spirit is not moving the way people know spirit to move, which is taking long. Spirit is active, moving now. You have a situation, they're bringing the solution now. Something is happening to you that is blocking your path, they're bringing the answers now. Something is about to happen to you, they're bringing the protection and the solutions now. You are in a situation of like intensive care spiritually. They're covering you, they're hovering over you, they're making sure that you get through it. And so this becomes something that you have to trust in your life. Like, you have to trust with your life that the messages that you're getting, the information that you're getting is solid. I take it very seriously because I have been through it, and I've been, even with the people that have gone astray after, I still appreciate their sacrifice. People get beat on spiritually so bad for giving messages that my spirit's like, stop watching them, give them a break. We can't afford to break everybody down, so they need a break. It's like, damn, and they're going to continue to be strong because they know what it is that they're providing. But that is what I'm here for. We do not force people, we do not take people. These are not energies that are looking to possess people, take souls, bind them, none of the above. In fact, you have to earn these relationships with your character. Your character needs to align in order for you to continue to be in connection with God. Spirit will never let go of you. When spirit has you, spirit will not let go of you. And I think people in this energy are learning that. Whether good or bad, if you're possessed with dark energies, they don't want to let go. They will battle for you, and good energies are the same. They don't let go. But unlike dark energies like my mother, like my father, do not force people. They may try to continue to explain to you why the path you're going down is a bad path, but they do not force people, they do not hurt people, they do not burden people. They will also respect your decision, whatever way you choose, because they respect free will. I want to talk about specifically the mother energy, because we all need a good mother. We know all about God the Father as a protector, a provider, and all of that. I want to talk about her as a mother. So where did I start this? Okay, so first things first. When you wake up in the morning as like a new, I want to say devotee, because that's the word everybody uses, because people become very devoted to her. Very devoted. That is something that is unique to her that I have not seen with any other spirit. The devotion that you give her, it comes naturally, because when you're loved correctly, it is impossible to not be devoted. Whether that is child to parent, whether that is man to woman, woman to man, or same sex, whatever it is impossible to not have devotion where you feel love, where you feel peace, and where you feel whole. When you wake up in the morning, the first words that you speak should be to your spirit team. I've talked before about my spirit team and hopefully your spirit team. The correct structure of a spirit team, as in spirit guides, should be your ancestors, your mother, and your father. A family. So you don't know what kind of battles have happened the night before just so you can open your eyes in peace. I kid you not. Because a sleeping time is the most vulnerable time that you're in. For every single attack they bring in your sleep state. Dream attacks where you're vulnerable, where you cannot defend yourself, they all come in the sleep state. The fact that you wake up, you're not demonically possessed. You're not beaten down on, you're not binded down, you're not cursed, is as a result of battles that are being fought in the spirit on your behalf as your body is floating around astrally. So the fact that every single night you should be asking God to guard you in your sleep, even though they're going to do it anyway because they love you, but you should just ask anyway, because you should ask because of free will. Every single night you ask for your soul and your spirit and your energy to be protected. You ask them to roam your home. You ask them to take care of you. You ask them to chase out evil, be with you every single night. And as you do that, when you wake up in the morning, first thing that I do, and I think that everybody should do, is just to say good morning. Good morning. Thank you for a good sleep, and thank you for me opening my eyes. Because otherwise, you're going to greet your problems. First thing you wake up, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I still have that to do. I can't do that. Something's blocking me from doing this. You're going to either wake up and meet a to-do list, or you're going to meet problems. You want to start your day off peacefully, and you want to start your day off with your loved ones. And your spirit team are probably just there with you, waiting for you to wake up in the morning. So every day when you wake up, make it a habit to greet them, and greet them first, and just say good morning to them. They've watched you all night, and it helps you start your day off peacefully regardless of what's going on. Now, I formally pray, but I also informally pray as well. I call that an informal prayer, where I just start going into prayer talking about, like, just thank you for sleeping, thank you for waking up, thank you for being with me, thank you for giving me calm, let's have an amazing day today. I talk about the day I want to have. I ignore all the problems, I ignore all of that, and I just launch into what I'm looking for, what I want. That is the way that I like to start the day. Now, when you start the day and you start off talking to God, you can continue talking to God. Like, I continue while I'm preparing for the day, while I'm preparing to pray, while I'm changing my clothes, I'll still pray. And over time, the prayers have gone from just praying like a normal prayer, where it's like formal, where it's like repeating the same things. So I kind of recite the same things all the time. Even though I recite them, I still recite them with a lot of meaning in my heart. So it does still mean something to me. I go from reciting the prayer to then it just became natural conversation of, this is what I have to do, this is what I have to get accomplished. I know you saw this, did you notice this, whatever the case was, just talking. And I can liken it to when my kids were younger. I would just, like, even when I was working around the house, I would have like the sling, and they would be in the baby sling, and I would just like walk around the house with them doing all my chores, even with them on me, and I would just talk all day. Not in baby talk, not to them, just talk out loud, just blab all day. And I would I'll talk about the food I'm cooking, I'll talk about the thing I have to do today, where I have to go. I have to go to the post office, I have to do this. And they really listen. I don't know if they understand what I'm saying, but they're contemplating it. You can see on their face, they're just considering it. And I remember my daughter was like, I can't remember, way too young, maybe like 9 months or something. I looked at her out of nowhere and I go, you need to learn how to talk. And she looked at me and she goes, I can't talk. And I was like, I almost fell. I almost threw the baby, because I'm like, what the hell? I didn't realize she could talk, because I'm the one that always talks and she just listens. Both my kids started talking in full sentences, which freaked me out a lot. It was a little scary. They started talking not like normal kids will start with words and sounds. No, they were fluent sentences. But that is because I was just talking about things that they should not even know. Like, if it was filling out a passport application, I'd be like, okay, this part's for the name, and this is the date of birth. And, I don't know why I did that. But when you first start talking to spirit, you're going to feel ridiculous. You're going to feel like you're talking to yourself. And spirit is listening intently the same way, looking at you with the same contemplation, literally intently focused, hearing every word, understanding every meaning. And so you're going to get to the point you're going to blab to spirit all day. It goes from important things that you think that spirit cares about to just things that you think are nonsense, but you talk about them anyway. And in the last 3 weeks, I know that people experience that, or I talk about everything with spirit. I see someone dressed a certain way, I talk that way. I correct myself when I say something that I feel like is not spirit-like, because you get to understand that they're listening. Now, In the beginning, I wasn't aware that they were listening all the time. All of them, all your spirits listen all the time. I wasn't aware. So if I said something that was right, they would confirm. If I said something that was wrong, they wouldn't like it. And so I learned to try to attune my thoughts. And sometimes if I go too much in the wrong way, they pull me back, they draw me back in whatever ways that they come up with. But when you start your spiritual walk, start talking. The more you talk, the more you pray, the more you invoke them, the more you involve them, you share that relationship as if it's a human person that you're living with, they get closer. You start seeing them more. You start hearing them more. You feel them more strongly. So you must always, it's like they're going to be quiet and sit in the background if you don't build a relationship. You have to continue to build the relationship. I am not talking about from a Christian perspective of formal prayer. There's a time for formal prayer, for sure. I'm talking about relationship building, getting to know them on a personal level. Spirits cry, spirits are happy, spirits get upset, spirits have their own way of thinking and feeling. And so you want to get to know them as a person on a personal level. Give them that opportunity. Their likes and their dislikes. They have likes and dislikes in food, likes and dislikes in like all kinds of things. In clothing, in all kinds of things, in jewelry. They have their own characters, their own personalities. So you have to get close to spirit on your own. That's why it's a personal thing. Like, no one outside of you can tell you how to get in touch with spirit, how to know it's spirit and not someone else. These are things that are personal development of the spiritual relationship, and it is a beautiful part of the relationship. So in the beginning, you have a honeymoon phase. Never forget your honeymoon phase. It's the sweetest memories that you will ever have. You're going to have your honeymoon phase where you fall in love with spirit. Whether you're a male and it's a male spirit, or you're a female and it's a female spirit, it doesn't matter. It's not the kind of love that is a sexual love. You fall in love with them, you fall in love with their personality, and I think to a degree they fall in love with you once again. It's sweet to have you back, not for the first time, because it's not your first. You'll feel it. You'll feel that they're so familiar to you that you've always known them. That's how you'll feel. Excuse me. Never forget your honeymoon phase, all the memories you've made. I have this video that I talk about falling in love with spirit in the backdrop of war. Whatever you're going through becomes the backdrop. The nonsense that you're going through, no matter how crazy, becomes the backdrop, and what is in front of you is like, oh my God, spirit is real. Oh my God, like they're actually here. This is not just, I'm not praying to the air. Like, something is here. It's real. It makes itself known to me all the time. That is the beauty of a spiritual relationship, is realizing all the things that they talk about, everything, it's real, it's true. So you get to fall in love with spirit. You get to go on this beautiful journey where you realize that there's more out there than you were told. When you come to spirit, come with your heart in your hands. Bring your heart. You don't need anything else. Bring your heart. She is a goddess of authenticity. She does not care for, what I call pomp and pageantry, which is basically like the fanfare. It's like knowing the correct candles and knowing this and knowing that and the prayers that are so elaborate. No. Authenticity is the basis of a real relationship with anybody. When two entities need to relate, authenticity, being real, that's good or bad. If you are in pain, if you're wondering, have you been abandoned? Why doesn't spirit love you? What's going on? Bring those issues to spirit. Don't bring it to other people, and definitely don't bury it in your heart. bring your heart as it is, whatever way, whatever condition it's in, she will heal it a lot easier than you think. That's what love does. Love heals you. I definitely know that I have expressed God's love to other people through me loving them. It's been an expression of motherly love. It's been very healing. And her protection, her guidance, the level of her standards, when you become close to her and you carry her energy, you express that. Through you, you express that to other people. So you cannot come pretending to be anything else. Just come as yourself, and slowly but surely she can heal you, and then you can go out into the world and you can heal other people as well. Not by trying and not by having an agenda to do that, just by naturally being yourself. You become an expression of her or him, depending on which one you align with more closely. You can come with any past, any baggage, and I mean any baggage whatsoever. You can literally come with the dirtiest past. This is why she is always known. When people want to cut her down, they say, "Oh, drug traffickers worship her, and prostitutes and this and that." That's because she doesn't judge. And I see it as a positive and not a negative. It means that she gives compassion to everybody. And by saying she's someone that drug traffickers worship, you're basically saying that drug traffickers are not worthy of having God's love. Because I hear Catholics say that. I hear religious people say that. It's like basically saying we're too good for these kinds of people. Is that the message truly that God gave them to give? That is not what they're here for. God's love is for everyone. God's forgiveness is for everyone. And we cannot personally get in the way of that. We cannot decide who God should love and who God shouldn't love. Because the truth is, God loves people that we may not think is worthy of love, or that we may not want to love. God loves everybody. It's not for us to block that from other people. Do not try to be perfect. Like, let that go, because she knows everything anyway. She knows our flaws, and she loves us just the way that we are. I think she made us the way that we are. Everybody is her child, and everything, every entity, even demons, even the dark ones, they are all her children. Some might not like her. Not everybody likes their mother. Not everybody likes discipline, but it still boils down to the same thing at the end of the day. Come naked with your truest self. Don't bother hiding. This is not the Christian God where it's like you are going to not be loved for making a mistake, or you're going to be admonished for slipping or reverting back temporarily into like old behavior. She understands that it's a struggle. She understands the human struggle in general. She understands that you did things that you're not proud of. It is what it is. She already gives you forgiveness. You're the one that sometimes will not, most times will not forgive yourself. You'll be embarrassed of your behavior. Give her the self that you cannot trust anybody else with. That's what I do. You cannot trust people as much as you can trust spirit. That's the reality. When I first heard other people say it, I felt relief that I didn't just feel like this for no reason. Spirits are trustworthy because they are consistent. Human beings, not so much. She can provide you and will provide you healing. I talked about yesterday about very deep-seated wounds that I had with my mother that she healed with like just the word. She will give you rest from a lot of the things that you're going through, man or woman. Just a lot of the burdens that are constantly on your back. She'll help you carry those burdens, financial, emotional, healing, trauma, whatever it is. Be open and honest and speak from your heart. Speak how you feel, speak in your own language. You do not need to have formal language or biblical language in order to pray. That is how you are going to build true connection. It is way more about the consistency, and you showing up all the time, being frequent and being authentic. You don't need long prayers. A lot of times my prayers are literally just, if you know, you could be crying. You have prayers is just, it's like the relationship that you would have with a human being. It's the exact same thing. In every way, you're gonna have a relationship with a human being. Some days you guys are gonna be fighting, some days you gonna have good days, some days you're laughing, some days you're hopeful, some days you're annoyed. Whatever it is, as long as you come with respect, it's perfectly okay to express it. Listen, there are so many times that she's gonna cheer you up when you're having a bad day and a difficult time. She'll make you laugh at a situation. You'll go from crying about a situation, like sobbing, to like laughing, and then you'll recognize it's her, and you're like, you know what, I really needed that right now. And she knows that you needed it to not be in that vibration and that mood. um all you really need is love in your heart, and sometimes we don't have the capacity to feel love in the way that we should or would be beneficial for us. And she walks you down a path without you knowing, of opening up your heart to having more love for people and having more love for yourself, especially. And in all of that, you end up having more love for her. It is her pleasure to bless us. She doesn't hold it over our head or make us feel indebted for it. It is very sweet to her when we find her to be a pleasure. When we find pleasure in just being with and around her, she finds that to be very pleasurable. And it is good that she likes to listen, because I promise you, you are going to get to the point where you are going to want to talk about everything, because it's going to be such a safe space for you. She is extremely interested in your conversation. She wants to hear from you as much as possible. She appreciates when you talk to her. She's very eager to listen. And I can tell you, I kind of relate to it when like my kids talk to me. It's like sometimes I find myself just being fascinated with their opinions, the way they reason, how did they come to that conclusion. I try to help. When they take it, it's great. When they don't take it, I'm just like, okay, well, you know, it is what it is. I don't get offended, but I just know that they're going to figure that I was coming from a good place. And I think it's the same thing with her. She gives advice and she's like, do it this way. And sometimes we don't listen, and she doesn't bemoan or get mad at us. She's just like, well, I think next time you're going to want to take my advice. And it's true. It's true. She's a very patient mother. Um, I think she is fascinated to hear our perspectives, and maybe even the way that we deliver information. I think she already knows. Like with my kids, I as a mother, I kind of already know as well. But it's still nice to sit and listen to things that I already know. And I imagine what's most exciting for her is to see somebody who is very new to the spiritual path and just try to pray, just try to talk, just try to come in with the information. I think just trying alone is something that is very exciting for her to witness. You know, these eggs that she's guarded, that she's hovered over, that she's protected, to see it crack, to see you come into yourself, and to see you grow into who she knows you to be. She makes very real and intense eye contact. She listens intently to every word with understanding, and she responds to it, and she knows she gets the I don't think she gets to know you. I think she always knows you, and she always knows what you like. But it's very beautiful to see that, like, she's really listening. They really listen. They really listen. So you know that she hears you when you speak. I'm gonna repeat, you're gonna find yourself blabbing over time, and I do think she enjoys it. Like, as a mother, I enjoy it. I enjoy when my kids do that. I like any time where I could just sit down. I'm just fascinated. I'm just looking at, like, I'm just admiring them more than anything. I think that's a lot of the times that's how it is with her. Um Sometimes while you blab, you stumble on small facts and she'll confirm it. You'll say certain things you don't know why you're saying, and she'll say yes, yes. Um, in the infancy of your relationship, when it's just growing, your honeymoon phase where you guys are both so happy to come into union with each other, these are the days where you're probably going to pray earnestly and most authentically. And you're going to look at them as the good old days. There's no way you can't, because you're always going to have these memories of when it just started. And the bulk of the memories are going to be in emotions, how you felt, how you noticed that she felt. So do not neglect your early days. Don't forfeit your early days to rush into spiritual maturity. Do not forfeit your early days to rush into the days where you are the most crafty spiritualist and whatever. No, the early days are beautiful days. You want to cherish those days. As a matter of fact, sometimes I wish I could go back to those days. From the fascination to the excitement to your childlike innocence, you can't escape. Just cherish every memory. You're gonna hold on to those in this lifetime, and whenever people talk about her and they get this smile that I have, it's because of those memories. Everybody has this smile when they talk about her. It's because of fond memories, because she is a pleasure. It is a very I don't know how anyone who doesn't like her and doesn't favor her is because they don't know her. Like, that simple. The days she shows that she's real, these are the days that she shows her excitement and her tenderness towards you, and you'll just know that she's there with you, that she's comforting you, that she's providing for you, that you are important to her. And she has the kind of love that makes you feel like you are the only person that she loves, even though you know logically that's not true. She just has a way of making you feel that way. Give me a second. um Not all of us that are going to get to know her are on hard missions in life. A lot of people just get to enjoy her, and low key, when I was like putting my notes together, I was like, I'm a little envious of them, because I think to myself, imagine being able to enjoy her fully without, the stress and the fighting and the aggravation and the nonsense all the time. So some people just come here. I need more. I need more. Some people just come here and they literally just like, they just get to enjoy her. Honestly, they just get to enjoy not to say that they're not a human being with like problems in life and things going on, but it's not like everybody's on a very hard mission. I don't want it to make it seem like the only people that would want anything to do with her on hard missions. I just want to say that she is very instrumental in the lives of people that are having a lot of difficulty in life. I promise you will know who's really met her from people who are giving contrived messages, from people who are pretending. There's a light that you cannot, and a love that you cannot fake when you really know her and you really are a recipient of her love. Trying to just say it to say it because it's cool or to force it, it's not the same. I've seen examples of both, and I just know the difference is so stark. People who truly love her, you can tell through and through. She is the quintessential mother, the quintessential mother archetype. So she is everything that you can think of as far as a human mother goes. They say that she was never human. I find it very hard to think that she's a human skeleton. I just find it extremely hard to believe that. I don't know. I didn't ask myself. I didn't care. But she is too much like a mother. She's just too much like a human being to me for that to be possible. So she is how I am with my kids, honestly. She wants to know what is best for you. She wants to be in everything. She like little things that don't really matter. I've said this over and over. Little things you don't think matter. She cares. She cares about it. She doesn't mind listening. She doesn't mind giving an opinion. She's just a mother, what I think a mother should be, and what I think everybody would appreciate of a mother. Um, so, how would you naturally treat a very good mother, an amazing mother? First of all, you would respect a good mother. You would have natural recognition of your mother, meaning that when you get into contact with her, you naturally recognize her. You recognize her as your mother. There is a natural warmth in her energy. She's naturally, it's like a familiarity. It's like just a warmth and a peace that you feel. Um, there is deep love that develops. Actually, it feels like it comes out of nowhere. It rushes towards you. And there's an assurance that she'll always be there. Even though you are not performing at your best, she's very kind. She's not a bully. She doesn't speak in an unkind way. So in the last few weeks that I had, I knew for a fact I was not speaking to my mother at all because it was aggressive and it was hostile and it was abusive and it was needy and it was forcing its way and it was talking about you don't ever listen. She's not like that. She is a pleasure. She is perfect in every way. I have no complaints. She is not burdensome. She's not going to push. She doesn't fight for control over you. She gives you free will. Even if it might not be in your best interest, but if it's something that won't be too harmful for you, she doesn't have, the only time I've ever seen her be loud about something is if it involves your safety. Otherwise, she respects, boundaries. She respects a person's free will. She's perfect. Um, you will develop natural trust for her, which will definitely shock you because you'll be like, what is happening here? It will be surprising for you. And I think there's always going to be like a little bit of fascination as to how she does that. And she has a natural way to engage with her that always involves respect, deep compassion, love, and admiration. There's going to be a feeling that you've known her forever. And, maybe people who don't know her currently would be like, no, I don't know, you can't see it. And to that, I would just say, you know what? I think if you take the step to have a relationship with her, then you'll see. That's the best I can say is you will see. She is she is a universal mother. So she's everybody's mother. It's not just mine. She's a universal mother. Now, though you have an earth mother, it's not the same as feeling, now I don't have, how do I explain this? I don't know how to explain this. It's just that when people are in love with her, they just call her mother naturally. She doesn't tell you to call her that. You just feel that. That's what you feel, that this is your mother. Um, People call her the saint of death. And it is not that she is not that, because she is. But to me, she is the universe. To me, she is the embodiment of the universe in like a spirit form. And you wouldn't think that the universe would be in a spirit, in an energy. You would just think it would be like the mountains and the oceans she's all of that as well as embodied in a spirit. Um, she is very honest, very honest. And she will very quickly become your best friend and she'll be there for you. And if I had to give her a tagline, it would be the tagline from Aladdin, the genie. You ain't never had a friend like me, because literally you have never had support, friendship like this in your life. You've never. And I venture to say that you will never have anything. The line that comes to me all the time is nothing compares to this. Nothing compares to this. There's no entity relationship you can go look for that compares to this. This is heaven on earth to know her without money, without whatever it is that people think that they need to be happy, without all of that. This is heaven on earth. The biggest blessing with her is if you never had a good earth mother, then you get to experience that with her. You get to experience what it's like. You're like, oh my God, that's what it feels like. It's like a TV mom in a sense that's always perfect. That is what she is. So you get to have that in your lifetime. And that's amazing because we can't control what kind of mother we have in the flesh. When you fall in love with her, you're going to finally feel full and complete on the inside. You don't know what that feels like to no longer be searching, no longer be future focused, where I need this and I need that and I need this outcome and I need this eventuality to feel full. You're going to be like, listen, as long as I have you, whatever way it goes is whatever way it goes. I'm good regardless. That is what it feels like, having a mother as a best friend. You feel full, you feel safe, you feel secure. And life feels complete. I'm not exaggerating. I'm telling you how I feel. Life feels complete. And then she then takes on to start filling in the gaps for you, what she feels like you deserve and the life that you should have, and that sort of thing. You just feel in a lot of ways that your search is done, and as far as life goes, and a relationship becomes your spirit and her spirit constantly trying to express their love towards each other. I am constantly trying to do things for her, let her know that I love her, I appreciate her. She's constantly doing the same. And this is what I talk about as the infinity symbol. Incredibly reciprocal. It is a two-way street. You know, it is not like in the Bible where they talk about God in the sense of like a child always needing and depending and whatever. It's like with her, it's like you want to come to her and say, well, what do you need? How can I make you happy? You will think about your thoughts and you will groom your thoughts. You will groom how often you fall into certain things. You'll work really hard on yourself because you understand that she's always also experiencing life with you and you want her to have a positive life experience. So it becomes a two-way relationship where the two of you guys are like enjoying life together. Our love for her touches her so deeply. And I've explained that spirits cry and they feel hurt, they feel pain, they feel anguish, they feel grief. That's how they feel ours as well. So I always say, never make your mother cry. It is gut-wrenching to think that something you've done is gonna hurt her. And I promise you the following on her behalf. First of all, she will never hurt you as her child. Never. She may take a step back if you're pushing her away, allow you time. She's so respectful, very demure energy, very elegant, very classy, very sophisticated energy. She will never hurt you, and I can put, I can promise that she will never hurt you. She will protect you so fiercely. And even from yourself and your poor decisions and your self-sabotage, because we all do that, she will protect you from that. You can bank on her word. You will find comfort in her promises because you know that she is not saying it to say it. She's being honest and she's being true. Number 4, she has the purest energy that you will ever feel because she's the energy of pure love, the actual energy of love. Number 5, you will never feel forced or that she has, you tend to match people's energy. So with all the respect and the grace and the class and the sophistication that she comes with, you are going to have to groom yourself and behave the same way, even if you may not behave that way with other people or maybe with other energies that you interact with. But with her, you groom yourself immediately. It is not out of fear, it is out of love. She has many aspects, and her white aspect naturally is just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful aspect to fall in love with. It is one of my favorite aspects. I spend a lot of time with her well, with a number of them, but I spend a lot of time with her as a mother, and that's just how I see her. Number 6, she would cherish your love more than you can understand. Like, that is your greatest gift that you can give her, is genuinely loving her in return. She is so appreciative of everything, every small thing. She is so perfect. She appreciates little things so much more for the big things. She is just appreciative in every way, and you just go out of your way for her as much as possible. Um, you tend to become like her when you carry her spirit. It's only natural. That's how you become when you carry a spirit. So because of that, we become a softer version of ourselves because we are loved correctly by her. It starts with healing, it starts with acceptance, and then it is a softening, and then it's just a beautiful situation over time. Our universal mother is a connector, a unifier, a peacemaker, and a lover of all, even those who I will say do not deserve it. That is just how a mother is. Even if you don't believe in her or if it's off putting, please don't disrespect her. That's all I ever say is, even if you do not believe in her as a deity, as a god, you don't see her the same way, there's no need to be disrespectful or say disrespectful things. Let it go. Don't say anything at all. No, it won't cost you anything to be quiet. This will be about more than protection. It'll be more about miracles and problem solving in your life. This will be about a beautiful lifelong experience where you guys get to experience each other, making memories, and it will feel like living with another human being in your house because her presence with you is going to be that strong. You're going to end up inviting her everywhere, in everything, and you don't need to think about her the way people think about gods in Christianity at all. Christianity is my best example because that's what I'm most familiar with. That's how I grew up. You'll definitely think about her as a human being with no body. In my house, we treat her like a human being with no body. We celebrate holidays with her with presents and everything. Like, we gift her things. It's very serious. I don't see her as one of those. Okay, so when you look at working, I don't like to say working with her. I don't see it working with her, living with her, being in her love, being close to her. When you look at that, some people will say, well, we blow cigarette smoke in her face, or we smoke a cigarette with her, or we do this or we do that. People have their different practices. It's not for me to say what you do. I treat her as not as a goddess that I work with. She is with me all the time. She is part of me. And so I treat her that way. So it's not like, I think basically what I'm saying is there's no right or wrong with her at all. There's no formula as far as give her this and she likes this and offer this and pray this way. And she wants your heart. She just wants the authenticity. She wants the relationship. She wants the love, because once you love someone, you know how to treat them. And sometimes I feel kind of bad for everybody else, because when it comes to her, I mean, we go so far out the way. It's so exciting. We're so excited to plan. We are so excited to go just, it's like Christmas every time I do something for her. So it's just very, sometimes I feel bad. I'm just like, man, how am I gonna balance? And that might be something that you feel, because if you think about it, in any household where the mother is very loved, very loving, very appreciated, it tends to be like that, where everybody fawns over their mother, and you know, the father might be in the house like, wait, what's going on? But you tend to just go out of your way for your mother. You bought her this for no reason, you got her this, you thought about her, you brought this home. It tends to be like that. I go places and I just see things, I'm like, oh my god, she would like this. So I would say focus on the relationship and do not bother about all the other details. Don't fuss about it. Enjoy the times that you've had ignorance. She will teach you little by little. She will teach you how to do what you need to do, if that is something that you need. And like I said, I don't think about her as just Mexican. I just feel like she's a mother. No denomination. I don't feel like she's black either necessarily. I just feel like she's a mother. That's it. It's not that all are welcome, all are preferred. She wants everybody to know that she is not this saint or this goddess who's going to, like, people are gonna die if they cross her, and all of it. Like, these are misconceptions, and when people have used her energy to do certain things, like, it's gonna come off that way. But this is not how it goes. um if you're having a tough time in life and you really need a living God in your life, you need a God that moves fast, because she is known as the fastest moving saint. And I'm telling you, you can pray for something today and get a phone call, and right when you're done the prayer. She's no joke. If you're having a tough time, I welcome you to just reach out in your own way. Just reach out. I give guidance, and I almost want to give permission to just know there's no right or wrong way. Do what works for you, what you feel naturally inclined to do. She will appreciate it. Reach out in your own way, in your own voice. No immediate altar is needed. No fanfare is needed. There's no formula. Take your time. I certainly did. I took a long time. Before I even put an altar together, I took a long time. Trust me, it was a dangerous time, and I should have had one. You do not have to be a witch. You do not have to practice witchcraft. You do not have to practice spell work. That's not what this is about. Sometimes a lot of the tools are given because it amplifies energy. It's cleansing and it's protection work, and she needs you protected. So say, for example, negative energy around you, you want to clean that out of the air, or people throwing you like dark, heavy work. She'll protect that. She'll catch that work in a net. She'll take care of things like that. But you don't have to practice anything. You don't even have to be the one that does anything. As a matter of fact, she prefers you not take things into your own hands. She'll handle it. You don't have to get involved. Take your time with formal things like altars, cleanses, protection, anything. Take your time on what feels natural to you. It is not necessary. It is not necessary. I repeat, it is not. People sometimes think I have to be a witch to come to her. No, you can be a normal, regular human being who lives a regular life and who says to themselves, I'm not interested in this. This is not the path that I want, but you want a relationship with her. I assure you, at the right time, if you are in danger, she will bring you to where you need to go, and she will lead you to things, and it'll feel comfortable for you if it should be. There are a lot of myths that need to be dispelled as far as she goes, and her devotees are very rapid to want to do that, because you don't appreciate the things that people say about her, because it's like they're giving her an awful reputation, and that is extremely far from who she is. I consider myself as just one who makes an introductory to her, and then the rest of the relationship is on you and your desire to have one with her. There will be a day where you won't worry about what she looks like, because that's something that worries everybody, is, or new people coming in, is that she's a grim reaper. There's going to be a day you're not going to worry about what she looks like, and you definitely do not need other spirits and to go out exploring and to do all of that. You do not need all of that. I think that your ancestors, her and Father God, are enough to carry. I don't think, I know they are enough to carry in your heart. And I think that they are, I don't want to say too much, but it's very powerful. Those are very powerful energies to have. So that is my message about a mother's love. And even though we call her by her name, Santa Muerte, this is not how. I do not see her as the energy of death. If anything, I see her as the energy of life. I see her as an avenger. I see her as a savior. I see her as my savior, my avenger, my protector, loyal to the soil when it comes to me. And so I give her that in return. And everything that she would ask you for, she gives you back in spades, and she gives it to you first freely. You know, one of the things that I want to note is she never asked me to do anything. She never asked me to talk about her. It was one of the things that I said right away, immediately. As soon as I experienced her love, I said, if there's ever a day where anybody ever asks me, how did you get through this? I will never hide you, because people do not understand or won't understand. I'm never going to be embarrassed about you. I'm going to talk about you freely everywhere I go, and I have done that the entire time, because honestly, I've been so in love that I talk about her to Christians, I talk about her to everybody, and it's like, I know that the face, the expression on my face, people can tell that there's no convincing me. Like, I did not hear a word that they said, because I am so happy, and like, it is one of the first times I do not feel the need to convince people over and over about anything. I'm just like, okay, I get it. I accept that you feel that way, no problem, and I move on with it. Only because I know her in real life. And I'm just like, oh, well, they're not ready yet, or they're not at that phase, or it's not meant to happen, whatever the case is. I brag about her a lot. I cannot help it. You cannot get to know her and not pick up a camera and a phone, because it bursts out of you. Anybody that starts talking about her, it's like, I can see that they can't help it. It's like when you're in love, no matter who you're in love with, love demands that you speak about it. It's like, I remember when it reminds me of Tom Cruise jumping on Oprah's couch talking about Katie Holmes, where you just kind of get the sense that he's like, I have to scream about this. I cannot believe this is happening. That's the way that it is with her. You just feel the need to like talk about it, scream about it, tell people. You can't shut up about it. You can't stop thinking about it. And it doesn't really get old. Like, you never get to the point where you're like, oh, well, this is just what it is. No. That connection is beautiful, it's sacred, and it is forever, and you want it to be forever. So whatever devotion and love that you give her, you're giving all of that literally because you want to give it. So yesterday I talked about how your destiny, your spiritual destiny, chases you. And that's one of the things. Without doing any divination, you're going to choose your own destiny. And, you know, my destiny is definitely to talk about her. You're going to choose it because it just feels so good. It feels so natural. It's so organic. It's not something that I needed to know before, even though I've known for a very, very, very long time. But it's not something that somebody needs to convince you of, or you need to rush or whatever. It's like, I'm content to speak about her anywhere. To one person, in my house, to myself, to other people, to a large platform. It's not about the number of people. Really, that's when you know you're really destined to do it, is you just want to do it regardless, to whoever, however, whenever. So anyways, that is my message. So this is going to be called A Mother's Love. Thank you very much, and have a good night.